Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, I had a voice to radio. So today, we're looking at a Gyarados list. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The other day, I showed you the new Gyarados card, and I told you that this was a really good card that was super awkward to use. And I told you that people were going to try using it. And I told you that I would not be surprised if it was good. I told you it was basically the new Granbull. Granbull does 160 for a single energy if you've got 0 cards in hand. And straight away, people made it work in Japan. Well, this weekend was the first weekend that Gyarados was legal for tournament play. People tried making it work. The lovely David Hochmann sent me an example deck list. And in terms of success, muted would be an appropriate way to put it. There were several people that got top 32 with it out of, a tournament with well over 100 people. So it's doing okay, but it wasn't seeing lots of tournament wins, so to speak. And the weird thing is, this is one of the most straightforward, simple deck lists I am ever going to show you on this channel. There are 9 unique cards. That's right. There are 9 different cards in this deck list. It is that simple, ladies and gentlemen. Now, if we remind ourselves what Gyarados actually does, Gyarados is a great little Pokemon. It's not even that little. It's got 150 HP. That's quite a lot for a stage 1. And there is a free energy attack that does 100 and discards an energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. We ain't using that attack. Far better, we have an attack for 1 water energy that does 30 damage. Then you look at the top 7 cards of your deck. You do 30 damage for each energy that you find there, and then you discard the other cards. So this puts you in a really weird and awkward position. Because what you need to do is get your Gyarados out as soon as you possibly can. You want 4 Gyarados on the bench, and then you want no cards in deck that aren't water energy. The one exception to this is you need Rescue Stretcher. Because you see, you don't actually want 4 Gyarados. You want 6 Gyarados. But given that you can only play 4 of any card in the Pokemon TCG, what you need to do is get your 4/4 Gyarados line out and then be prepared to have 2 more down the line. And that's when it gets a little bit awkward. Now, the good news here is we have Ditto Prism Star. And Ditto Prism Star, as we all said, has become one of the most played cards in the format. It is a basic that can evolve into any stage 1. And the great thing is that if you're playing multiple different stage 1s, and let's go back to Granbull, because you're playing Granbull and you're playing Macargo, and some people are also playing Zebstrika, you can evolve Ditto into any of those, which is great. It allows you to play single card techs. So some people who have been playing Ditto have just played a single Alolan Muck in their list, knowing that if they desperately need it, they can evolve it from Ditto. But in a deck like this, it's just a 5th basic. You ain't playing any other Pokemon. You just want your Gyarados. Cool. So go for your Gyarados. Just have this out. And now the numbers here, the numbers work perfectly. Because if you get 4 Magikarp and a Ditto out, then you have essentially 5 basics, 4 evolutions. Well, you need 6 basics, 6 evolutions. 1 Rescue Stretcher will do it. 1 Rescue Stretcher will get you the last Magikarp and the last 2 Gyarados. To be 100% clear, there will be games where this goes badly. Guaranteed. There will be games where you don't have any more Gyarados and you're out of Rescue Stretcher. And that's it for the game. And there's nothing you can do about that, right, ladies and gentlemen? When this happens, that's it. But then again, Gyarados should be one-hit KOing most things. Gyarados has 150 HP. So if you set up well enough with 4 Gyarados, that might be enough. If you can be hitting 240, now 240 is the best case scenario where you've got 7 Water Energy as the top cards of your deck, then you're basically, I mean, that's enough to one-hit KO something like Pikachu Zekrom Tag Team GX for free prizes. And you can easily KO GXs here. And in that situation, maybe 4 Gyarados is enough. But the biggest problem with this deck, there will be games where you discard your Rescue Stretcher and run out of Pokemon. So with all of that said, what do we see here? Well, our Magikarp of choice is the one from Crimson Invasion, because it's got the ability that stops it being hit on the bench. Something like a Latios could get a one-hit KO on a bench Magikarp. Something like a Tapu Koko with 2 flying flips could get rid of all of them. Yeah, you really need this particular Magikarp. Obviously 4 Magikarp, 4 Gyarados, obviously Ditto as we've mentioned. The only other Pokemon here we play Alolan Vulpix. Well, of course we do. Because what we need to do is get our Pokemon set up as fast as we possibly can. Alolan Vulpix for 0 energy lets you search for 2 Pokemon, and then you're rolling. And the great thing is, Magikarp's got a retreat cost of 1, Ditto Prism Star's got a retreat cost of 1, and you're playing a lot of energy. You will, if you can find Alolan Vulpix, you will be able to get the turn 1 beacon. And to be fair, once an Alolan Vulpix gets KO'd, you then only need 5 Gyarados, which means 4 Magikarp plus a Ditto, 4 Gyarados in your deck. You need 1 Rescue Stretcher to pick up 1 Gyarados and immediately evolve it, and that will be enough. And the reality is, 5 Gyarados will usually be enough. Ditto gives you the 5th Magikarp, so actually you only really need 1 Rescue Stretcher to get 1 Gyarados back. Now, in terms of the energy here, 37 energy. 37 energy. That's ridiculous. But then again, you really want your top 7 cards to be energy, so you've got to go pretty full on with this. And then in terms of supporters, we've got 2. We've got Professor Elm's Lecture, which we play 4 of. Professor Elm's Lecture lets you search for 3 Pokemon with 60 HP or less and put them into your hand. That's everything but Gyarados. That's your Magikarp, your Ditto Prism Star, and your Alolan Vulpix, which means in the early game, 2 Magikarp, 1 Alolan Vulpix, unless you started with Alolan Vulpix. And then you're great. You just go. And you're rolling. And you're ready to evolve. But we also see 4 copies of Crasher Wake. Now, Crasher Wake is not a card that's seen a huge amount of play, but in this deck, it's phenomenal. Discard 2 Water Energy from your hand. If you do, search your deck for 2 cards and put them into your hand, then shuffle your deck. You're playing 37 energy. You are often going to have 2 energy in hand. And if you've got 2 energy in hand, Crasher Wake is phenomenal. The reason we don't play this in more decks is because we can't rely on having 2 energy in hand. But here you can. So it's great. Get your 2 Gyarados. Get whatever you want. Mostly 2 Gyarados, to be honest. And then we see 2 Rescue Stretcher. We've talked about that at length. And a single copy of Counter Catcher. I like this. It's searchable with Crasher Wake, and at the end of the day, right, it lets you have a free gusting effect, pull a Pokemon off your opponent's bench if you're behind on prizes. Well, you're probably going to have an Alolan Vulpix go down early, or maybe a Magikarp. You're probably going to be behind on prizes, so, Crasher Wake for a Rescue Stretcher and a Counter Catcher. It's good. Here's the list in its entirety, that's it. There are 9 different cards. This is the entire list. I don't know if this will work. Like I say, people got top 32 at more than one tournament, and they had well over 100 players. So people are seeing limited success with this. It is not tearing the format apart. You are going to have some janky games where you just have horrific opening hands. You're playing 8 supporters. If you don't draw one of those supporters early game, you may well end up not being able to set up and losing. Although to be fair, Alolan Vulpix can search your Pokemon, you're going to have your energy, And to be honest, all you really need here is your stage 1 Gyarados and your energy. Thing to bear in mind, if you start attacking with Gyarados really early, before you've got set up, you risk discarding cards that you want, like your Magikarp, your Rescue Stretcher, and your Ditto Prism Star that goes straight to the Lost Zone and doesn't come back. This seems janky, but give me a more fun deck that you've seen in recent times than this. To be fair, I'd argue the Celebi and Venusaur list that I looked at the other day, I'll pop a link in the description. That was a weird, fun list. But this one, I love this list. And I am definitely going to be playing around with this on PTCGO. I just really get the feeling that there will be some games where you go off and crush, and there will be some games where you don't go off and you get rolled. And I don't know if I can go into a tournament with that kind of deck. But ladies and gentlemen, this is the part of the video where you tell me what you think about this deck. So let me know in the comment section. Go nuts, but I would please ask you to remember the most important rule. Be nice, would you? And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all of that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassyPlays for some more Wassy action. But by far the most important thing, as always, is to look after yourselves. Until next time, thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.